What's going on, guys? Skeltos here, and Camaro content is now back. So today in this video we will be doing a radiator flush on the Camaro because it needs it because of overheating issues and cooling issues. It actually has more cooling issues than overheating issues because when the car is up to full temp and then you turn it off, it takes forever to turn it to cool back down, and that's not good for meat season. So today in this video we'll be doing a cooling flush, and it'll consist of two parts. The first part, which will be me doing a press stone like kind of chemical flush. I'm gonna mix the press stone into my radiator fluid and kind of run it through the system. It says to run it for 45 minutes, which I'm not even sure the car will run for 45 minutes without having issues, because I've never driven it for more than 15-20 minutes, to be honest with you guys. So that'll be interesting. I'll have to show you guys what the setup will look like. It'll kind of look like a dyno setup with a big fan in front of the car to keep it really cool, but I'll show you guys when I get into that. But right now I'm on the move. I am picking up my little brother from school, so I'm waiting for him to get out. But when I get back, I got to make sure the battery's charged, I got gas. So I'll pick it up when I figure it out if I have everything I need to do and when I'm about to first start the car and get the first part of the flush through. Okay guys, let me give you a quick breakdown of what I just did over like the last hour and a half about. The car is running. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is running. I mean, you probably can't hear it, but I got it running. So to do that, before I got it running and all that, I poured this entire thing of press stone, what is it? Press stone radiator flush. I poured the entire thing in my radiator with the coolant though, because I live in New Jersey, so it's gonna get colder tonight. Even though it's in the 60s right now, it's gonna get cold tonight, and I don't need water freezing and cracking my block and crap like that. So I mixed it straight into the coolant, which I recommend, especially if you live in like the Northeast or places that's gonna get really cold. So now what I have to do is I have to babysit this thing for like 30 to 45 minutes. I'm not even sure it has enough gas in it to run for 45 minutes, but I'm gonna babysit it. I gotta wait for it to come up to temperature. But in the meantime, it's gonna get really loud. I'm not even sure you guys are gonna be able to hear me, but that fan right there, I'm gonna have to turn that fan on when it gets to operating temperature. Right now, we're just chilling right now. I don't think I got to operating temp yet. I will check it in a moment. Actually, I should probably just check it right now. We're almost there. We have like 10 more degrees to operating temperature. It's at like 170 right now. So I'm gonna wait till it gets to about 175, 180, and I'm gonna turn that fan on and literally just sit out here, make sure there's no leaks, make sure everything's going well. And then the other thing I do have to recommend, you have to turn on your heat to make sure this stuff is also flushing through your heater core, because you need to get all this gunk out. I looked in my radiator, I could already see gunk in my radiator because that's how bad it is. Because for years we were making the mistake of just using regular tap water instead of distilled water. This time around I have inside the distilled water to mix with the full concentrate coolant, and that'll be at the end of this video when I refill it and we get to take it for a drive. But I gotta let this do its thing. This is the first step. You gotta let this thing do its thing. After this is all done, we're gonna empty this out, and then I'm gonna take the rad out and I'm gonna fill it up with white distilled vinegar and let that sit for like 48 hours. So that's the second part of this, but for now I'm just gonna watch it over. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do, just sit here and watch it. But I'll pick it up when we're done, and I empty it out and just kind of show you guys what came out of the rad and the heater core and the whole cooling system. Okay guys, here's a little update. It's been about 30 minutes since we've started this first flushing process, and the car's holding really well. It's staying at about 202 degrees, which is fairly good for this car, because when it used to have these overheating issues, it would get up to like 240, and that's not good. But it's holding at 202 right now at idle, which I'm pretty well. It's idling at about 1100. It's hard to read the tach a little bit, but it's idling at about 1100, holding at 202 degrees. It's been about 30 minutes. I'm gonna check it in like 15 minutes, and if it's still holding at that, I'm gonna let it go another 15 minutes for the full hour. I'd like to get this flush a full hour if I could, but if the car doesn't want it to happen, it doesn't want it to happen. The other thing is, it had a little bit of a hiccup. We had a little bit of overflow, but we kind of expected that because I did put the full 32 ounces of the press stone in it. This jug right here, it's a 32-ounce jug with, what is that, 1 quart. I did put the whole thing in, and the radiator really wasn't going to take it all. I just kept, pouring it in. So I did expect it to overflow a little bit, which it is. I have a little drip pan catching that all now. But that's something to keep an eye out for, especially if you have an old car like me with an overflow canister, just to make sure, you don't overfill it, that it's going to overflow into the over your canister. But if it does overflow into your canister, make sure you just got a pan underneath it. But otherwise, it's holding well. I'll check back in with you guys in either 15 or 30 minutes, trying to figure out what I'll do next. Probably the next part you'll see is me flushing it out, because it's holding really well right now, so that's pretty good and I'm really happy about it. Okay guys, let's talk. It did its 45 minutes. It's been about an hour now because I've been letting it cool down a little bit, but it passed its 45-minute like radiator stress test is what I'll call it. It actually ran for 45 minutes with no issues. A couple times, I won't even call these issues, a couple times I thought heard the fuel pump either cutting out or like something rattling, but I couldn't figure it out. And another thing is, I mean, this could be an issue depending on who you ask. It probably is an issue, but I heard a little bit of a misfire, and I think it's spark plug related, because I haven't put spark plugs in this car in who knows how long, and I won't even tell you guys because I actually think I know how long it's been, but it's awful to think that it has been that long since I did spark plugs. So I'm gonna put new spark plugs in this vehicle as well to hopefully settle that misfire, because it doesn't sound like any rod knock or anything. It just sounds like a little miss. It sounds like it's hissing a little, so I think it's spark plugs. I really don't know how to explain what it sounds like, but it sounds like a misfire. If you know what a misfire sounds like, that isn't like extreme. So spark plugs are needed. So, but it did really good. 45 minutes, ran at 1200 RPMs. It did get hot at one point. It got up to like 212 or 14 degrees, but that was all right. It didn't overflow crazy. You know, the canister overflowed a little. I'll show you guys now what I'm talking about, my overflow canister. I'm gonna turn this off for a second so you can hear me. This little guy here is an overflow canister. They had to have one to race it, so that's what it was overflowing into. But it hasn't been an issue. So now I just gotta wait for this car to completely cool down. It'll probably be tomorrow, a tomorrow kind of thing, to fix that. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go run and get the more full strength coolant so I can mix it with the distilled water when I need to do when I need to fill it all back up, because right now it's really just a waiting game until this thing cools down, until I get it out. So I guess I'll see you guys in like 24 hours, but for you it'll be like 3 seconds. Okay guys, it's the next morning and I already started working on the car. I just wanted to get it all done and just kind of show you guys what I did, because it's hard to kind of hold a camera and do things at the same time. At least I can't. So this is what happened. So I have this fan shroud. I had to take the belts off to remove it. I have this fan shroud. It's homemade. This is like PVC piping, and I think this is a fan shroud off of like an 80-something Jeep Wrangler that I got from a buddy. So anyway, that's the homemade fan shroud. It runs through. Took the bolts out. So I already drained the fluid. I don't even know if you guys could. I already drained the fluid out of the radiator, and I already emptied out the overflow. And I probably should have kept the overflow to show you guys that it was really murky. But let me actually pull this out. Actually, I don't think I have to pull this out. But you could definitely see in there that it is disgusting, and I'm gonna have to flush that out. But it's good to know that this chemical thing worked and that stuff came out. You can also tell by the fluid, it's kind of bubbly. I think that happens when it gets like cleaned out and the kind of your contaminants in the rad come out. So I have those two things done. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I have a turkey baster. I saw this on YouTube, and I have a turkey baster. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this turkey baster and plug and put the turkey baster in here, and I'm gonna just kind of apparently I don't know what I'm doing, but apparently doing this will kind of be like if I was kind of blowing on the hose, but I don't want to put my mouth on the hose because the hose is really grimy. So it's to get the rest of the stuff in the system out, because there's still stuff in the system. As we know earlier, I ran the car for 45 minutes to get everything through, so still the heater core has stuff in it, and the engine, all that has coolant in it still, so I got to get it out. So I'm going to take this turkey baster and hopefully be able to push it all out, and then when I'm done I'll kind of show you guys what the next step is. The next step is probably going to be pulling the rad out, taking all the hoses off, and then the vinegar soak, which I don't know what I'm going to put. I'm going to fill it up with vinegar, but I feel like I should put it in something in case I have a little spillage. But I'll figure that out. So let's get into it. Okay guys, I am running out now. We need radiator hoses and a radiator cap for the Camaro. So they are shot. The hoses are like 30 years old and the radiator cap is leaking. When we tried filling it with vinegar, the cap was just leaking all the vinegar right out of it. So we need to go to Advanced Auto Parts and go get a radiator cap and the upper and lower radiator hoses. I think that's it. Oh, I probably should get radiator fluid, but I ain't gonna get that right now. We got a big old Yeehaw pickup truck going on over here. I don't know what's going on, but that's what I'm gonna go get now. And when I get back, I could show you guys the kind of situation we're going on with. Not a situation, but kind of what's going on. Sorry for all the bumps. Gotta love good old New Jersey roads. So yeah, I'll show you that. I got the radiator out, the fan shroud out. Now I have a big open gap. I can kind of show you the 4 bolts that we took out and kind of what the next step is. So, see you then. Okay guys, I have officially gotten the radiator filled with vinegar, so let me kind of explain the process. So we took the rad out, right? So then we filled it with hot water. And with the hot water, it actually broke up some of the stuff and cleaned out the kind of coolant flush and the coolant that was left over in the radiator. And it just flushed it out. When it flushed it out, it was really gross, so we already knew we were kind of in the right spot and that it was cleaning it out. So now the rad is filled with distilled white vinegar or white distilled vinegar. I'm not even sure, but it's filled with vinegar now. So let me show you. This is what we use, distilled white vinegar, and then it's just filled. I don't know if you can see the liquid, but it is filled up. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this for 24 hours, and then in 24 hours we're going to come back, dump it all out, and then we're going to fill it with hot water again, rinse it all out, and hopefully it'll be really clean. So this is kind of... Hello? Oh, there's nobody over here. So this is what had to happen. So right here, as we know, the radiator and the shroud were here. And then, I don't even know where these holes are. But, oh, so there was one hole here, one hole down there, I think one hole here, this hole right here, and then this hole all the way down here. Those were the 4 bolts, or kind of, I don't even know, they were all different sizes. This car is such a jalopy, but they were like welded nuts and bolts that were holding this in. So that's what you had to take out to get the radiator out. It was really easy. You just have to spray it with PB Blaster, and don't wrench on it too hard. I almost broke one of the bolts, so that would have been even a worse situation. But that is what had to happen to get the radiator out. But now it is over there. It is all cleaned out. So now we're just going to wait for 24 hours and see. But before that, I have the old radiator hoses that I wanted to inspect because you could see the calcium buildup, and I kind of wanted to show you guys what we were dealing with because it's pretty bad, the calcium buildup. So these hoses are 30 years old. Who knows when the last time was that this radiator had been cleaned out, if it had ever been cleaned out. Okay guys, let me kind of show you what's going on in these hoses. See all that gunk in there? That's calcium buildup. All that, let me see if I can get, all that gunk in there is calcium buildup. And that's what's been running through my radiator for who knows how long. It's really gross, in all honesty. And both sides are like that. Let me see. It's hard to see, but just kind of see it. Both sides are like that. And then this one is like that too. It's hard to kind of angle light into it. Let me see if I can. It's actually hard to tell in this one, believe it or not. I don't know. It's hard to tell. These hoses are disgusting, as you saw in the first one. The lower radiator hose was absolutely gross. So we needed new radiator hoses. And then we also needed a new radiator cap. And we needed that because, let me see if I can get this off. I can't even get this off. But if you look at it from here, you can kind of see that it's has like a edge to it here. The new one does not have that. Well, I can't show you the new one because it's already on the radiator. Just believe me that these are what was causing the leak. The kind of rubber gaskets, I guess I'll call them. These were what was causing it to leak. So that was a leaking issue that we didn't know happened because the radiator points up and it doesn't leak out of the top because it'll just go into the overflow. So flushing out the radiator and replacing the hoses should help with the cooling and the heating issues that we're having with the Camaro. But we'll find out in 24 hours or so when I dump out the vinegar, and then kind of wash out with water and maybe decide if I'll do that again, whether or not this will help. But for now, I'm going to wait like 24 hours, but for you guys it'll be like 3 seconds, and we'll see what happens. Okay guys, it's been the 24 hours and the radiator is now emptied. So what I did was I emptied out the radiator of the vinegar, I put it into a container. I poured it into a container so it could be disposed of, and then I rinsed it out with water. I just ran water through it for about 2 to 3 minutes to make sure everything came out. And by that I actually took a bucket of water and I poured hot water into it, and I let hot water run through. The hot water came out murky, so I did it again with hot water, and it came out clear. And then I just ran cold water through it out of a spigot to make sure all like the contaminants came out. So, but I wanted to show you what the before and after of the vinegar looked like. So before, the vinegar looked like this, you know, just nice and clear. It was just white, distilled white vinegar. And after, it looked like this. You can see how this is all murky and contaminated, and you might even be able to tell, but this has like kind of a green tint to it because of the coolant. So it cleaned out all of it though. So now this isn't water, but this is what everything looked like when it came out. So it went from looking like this to looking like this. So this is a huge difference, and this tells me a lot. This tells me that all this calcium buildup, what came out fairly, most of it came out. I probably could have did this again, you know, do one for 24 hours, empty it out, make sure the water comes out looking like this, and then do it again, and you'll probably get the same results if you do this 2 times in a row. I wasn't going to do this 2 times in a row, and I'm still not going to do this 2 times in a row, but I have the time to, because the parts from AutoZone don't come here until Tuesday now, so now this video is going to take even longer, but that's okay. Soon I'll be able to install and get the car running, and hopefully test out the temps. I just wanted to show you guys that this is the after, and that this is a good sign that we had a lot of calcium buildup. Well, calcium buildup's not a good sign, but it shows you that we had a lot of calcium buildup and that we were able to get a lot of it out. And when I was actually pouring it out, I was actually able to see some residue coming out, including dirt and grime, and kind of like buildup kind of was also coming out. So I just wanted to show you guys what the after looked like, and to tell you to dispose of this correctly. Hey guys, it's been like 5 days again since I've talked to you, but I finally got the hoses for the Camaro. These were ordered to the wrong store, so I had to reorder them, and yeah, that was a whole debacle that I don't want to talk about because it really annoyed me. It really annoyed the crap out of me. But I'm gonna try to get the car back together today because it's a nice day. It's 70 degrees outside in March. Who would have thunk? And hopefully I don't have to do this tomorrow, because tomorrow it's gonna be like 40 degrees. So hopefully I can get this back in tonight and get it started, and tomorrow I can actually drive it around. So let's get into it. Okay guys, everything is back together, and I just ran the car and it ran great. So let me show you. Rad is back in. The new hoses are right here. Wow, that's hot. Don't touch that, it's hot. And then the new hose is down there. The new hose, and then look at the new cap. You know, it's a nice cap. So this is what I did. This is what I put in. I put in full strength. What is it? Full strength. Oh, AutoZone coolant. It's just, you know, AutoZone stuff. And then, but I mix it with distilled water. Mix it with distilled water. Don't use this crap that comes out of your tap. That's why I had to make this entire video. So distilled water, and you can use any coolant really, as long as it's full strength and you're gonna mix it, or use 50-50. I don't even really know what 50-50 is, but I've never used the 50-50. I've always used full strength to mix it with water. My rad and all that, my entire cooling system took a gallon of this and a little bit more, and then a gallon of distilled water. But it's all back together now. You know, it ran good. I just got it up to temp and I shut it down, but had no issues, no leaks anywhere with the new hoses, and that's pretty much it for this video, because this car runs nice. I'm gonna take it for a ride tomorrow, so check out my Instagram, skeltos, like the youtube.yt. So check out my Instagram. I'll put a link in the description. But don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share the video with friends, and let me know what else you want me to do down in the comments. But until next time, peace.